Hello, everybody, and welcome to my second episode for today on Thrive, Not Just Survive. My name is Nasira Jamal, and earlier today I had my 10 o'clock, and unfortunately we had run into some technical problems and lost connection. So I am going to be bringing Christy Primer on again because she is a wonderful lady, and we really want to conclude our conversation of what we were talking about. However, today's special live is one that I really feel is an important conversation to have. I met Maria, well, actually, I haven't physically met her, but on social media, I'm on certain women's groups and empowerment groups and things like that. She had posted something very interesting on one of the posts as we were all kind of discussing about the unrest that is happening over the last couple of weeks with the death of George Floyd. And it really got me to thinking as to how are we addressing the issue of racial injustice and where is it stemming from? And I wanted to get a perspective of an African-American woman that has lived her life in Africa, in the US, in Florida, and I wanted to get a perspective and also talk about the resource that she put out in terms of how do we approach this if people didn't know what to say, or where are some of our stereotypes coming from, because we may have some and we don't even really know where they come from. So I want to bring her on because I want to talk about this very important topic, Black Lives Matter. And I want to address this with somebody that can shed some light on it for us. So let me bring Maria on and get this conversation started. Hey, Maria, thank you so much for joining me. I feel so grateful that I've met you through social media. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit, like for our audience, could you tell us a little bit about you? Just of who you are, and I was supposed to introduce you as to what you do, but we'll do that after, because that's also very exciting. I feel like you're doing something that you're following a passion, but just tell us a little overview of who you are, and then we'll really get the conversation started.
Of course, my name is Maria Swann, and I am the owner of Zavaka Tour, and I'm a wife, and I am a mother in a blended family. So I have 3 little girls. They're 10, 10, and 5.
Wow, busy mom.
Yes.
You're a busy mom. And you live in Florida.
Yes, I do.
Right. So in terms of your, so everything that's been going on over the last couple of weeks, it's been quite a bit of unrest, and not just for the American African community, but for just the general population of people that are navigating through this time in what do they say? How do they behave? What are the stereotypes? Can we kind of address the first thing, Black Lives Matter, because I know we talked about this, that, there's this whole thing about all lives matter. And I just want to say that we all know that all lives matter. That's part of mankind, humanity. Every life is precious. However, with the death of George Floyd, what we are focusing on is the way it's happened. And it is a Black man that died with, police brutality and, underlying racism. So can you sort of shed some light on this whole idea, when we talk about Black Lives Matter, and why is it that we really need to focus on this?
Yes, and let me say this about Black Lives Matter. And I said this in one of my lives on my, I had a very transparent moment. So when I first heard Black Lives Matter, I was really in a space where I was asking, why are people saying that? Like, why are we putting a red dot on our forehead? We're Black in America. I felt like that was enough, right? So I started seeing the shirts, and I started seeing the movements, and I started seeing people talk about it. And I didn't understand it until fast forward, a system of events had occurred, and I started seeing that these people were reformists well before I started seeing that we really need to focus on our lives. A lot of people think that the unrest and the chaos right now, especially in the Black community, came from George Floyd and how he died. But we have to remember, George Floyd died with police brutality, with a Caucasian cop with knee on his neck. Before that, Audrey Ahmed died jogging. He was minding his business, jogging. He got shot by Caucasian men. Before that, Breonna Taylor got shot in her home while she was sleeping. by white cops. They were in a black neighborhood. And then before that, so from January to now, there have been 4 big national deaths, and they all have been Black Americans minding their business. And I realize Black lives have to matter because we're the ones in danger.
Yes.
All lives matter all the time. Yes, of course. We are a melting pot. All lives matter, but all lives are not in danger. Our lives are in danger right now. So that's really what the focus is on.
Right. And I'm really glad you pointed that out, that right now, this is your, like, Black lives are in danger. You know, if this is what we, you know, it's like somebody made an analogy that if you go into a neighborhood and there's one house on fire and all the other houses would say, well, douse our house because we're in the neighborhood, but they're not on fire. Right. So this is why we have to really concentrate on what we are really dealing with, is the whole idea of Black African Americans being targeted. It's like there's a target, right? And I think it's important for us to have this conversation. So as we go, and how have you seen it come up for you? Because you put this post out, which was amazing, with how do you deal with certain things? How do we, as people that are learning now and coming to this realization that, oh my goodness, this is a real thing that we have to reflect within. Where are our stereotypes coming from? How do we really think? How we lead our lives with people around us. So can you just shed some light on the thing that you put out? Because I think that the points you had were very, very profound.
Of course, yes, and I have it up, so I'm going to reference it because I didn't memorize it. So the first slide that I put in there was to look out for those of color, especially when you see things are not fair, speak up. That is simple, but it's not simple for a lot of people, because until something hits your home, you're not really going to pay attention to it. And a lot of people are aware now. And because they're aware, now when you see racial tension, now when you see inequality, now when you're at your job and you know something's not right, it's time to speak up. We can't just keep walking past it like it's not happening. Caucasian men and women have to be our allies. At the end of the day, that's really what it is. We just want somebody to speak up for us, So that was my first thing. Recognize when things aren't right. Like I said, a lot of times we think it's simple, but it's not, because it did not hit a lot of people's home until this big catastrophe, happened, And then my other one was have conversations with African Americans to get our point of view on how the world treats us and how we are viewed and what we've experienced living in America. Our day-to-day is not the same. It's not the same. When we get stopped by the cops, it's not the same. When we're Black in a Caucasian neighborhood, trust me, it's not the same. The judicial system is not it's so many things you can Google and you can see, well, he was a Caucasian kid and he was a Black kid and he got 20 years and he got 6 months probation. That's a big difference.
Right.
For the same thing, so you have to know that ultimately we just want to be heard, and we want you to know like how it is while we're living in America and what you can do to help us,
right.
And be our ally. And for another point that I had was understand and acknowledge that our day-to-day looks different from you guys. Like I really had to, when I did my live, I wanted to sit there and I had examples of how day-to-day looks different. Every time I tell somebody how my experiences or my husband's experience is with a Caucasian woman or Caucasian man, they're like, you sat in the car that long? Like they talk to you like that? They're really confused. You know why? Because our day-to-day is different. And you have to acknowledge that. We're not saying feel sorry for us, no, but we're saying recognize it and know that sometimes we're just tired because we're always fighting. Like we're constantly an emotion of, is this Caucasian man or woman going to say something to me? Are they going to treat me wrong? I'm standing in a line. The Caucasian woman's beside me. Are they going to tell her to go next? Are they like, those are, to some people it's big, but to us, those are day to day for us. And it's sad we have to get adjusted to it. But that's what our life looks like,
But that's the thing, right? So when you talk about that, it's really, you're getting used to the inequalities. Like that's just how you survive. This is almost like you've gone into a survival mode to say, well, that's how you can cope. And I think this is where we need to shed some light on this. And I think you're making some great points. So I know you've got a couple of other ones.
Yes, but I wanted to say something about that as well. For example, when I got my license and my registration, instead of being like everybody else saying, got my license registration, let me put it in my console, let me put it in my car somewhere. I asked my husband, I said, should I tape it to the window? So when we get the wrong cop, I don't have to reach for anything. I could just say it's right there.
That's, that wouldn't even cross my mind.
No.
And so for you to even think that, you're already thinking 10 steps ahead of what could potentially happen if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time under the wrong person.
You have to.
Yeah. And I think that is something that has to be highlighted. It's not something all people think about that kind of stuff all the time. We don't.
Yes. So with that, understand and acknowledge that our day-to-day looks different. And then my other one was pay attention and acknowledge the stereotypes you allow to hold true in your life or in your circle, because those stereotypes bring divide to our culture and they lead to action. So I made the point, crossing the street to avoid walking next to a group of young African American men, because you're like, they're trouble, or putting up their window or locking their doors when a Black man walks by. I've heard so many doors locked when my husband walks by. He is a gentle giant, like he's so sweet, and I get upset because I'm like, what y'all thought he was gonna do? Reach in your car and take something? Like, so you being Black, you roll your eyes and you keep walking. You say, oh, here we go, and you keep walking, and it's sad, but that's our life. That's our day to day. Calling 911 to report the presence of a person of color who is behaving lawfully, when in all actuality, like I forget the woman's name, but I made a post about it. I mean, I talked about it in my live, but it was a Caucasian woman who called just recently, I think it was 2 months ago, on the Black man who was at the park. Her dog was supposed to be on a leash, and instead of putting her dog on a leash, the dog, was wandering. He said, can you please put your dog on a leash? And she got upset, and she said, you know what? I'm going to call the police. And he got it on camera. I'm going to call the police and tell them that a Black man is being aggressive towards me. You know why she said that? She said that because she knows when you say things like that, it triggers something and it triggers trouble. You understand what I'm saying? So those are stereotypes. Those are things that you have to dispel in your heart. Because let me tell you something about stereotypes. Stereotype a lot of time is fear. It comes with fear. You're doing certain things because you're fearful. When you dispel that fear, then comes love, and then you can say, I'm aware, and I can, move and do and act how I need to if something is going on. But if you're always afraid, you're not going to pay attention to those things that are going on,
Yeah, because then you become very reactionary, right? Because you don't even think about it where it could be something completely not what you're thinking about, but you don't have the time to even process that.
Yes, exactly. So those were some of the points for pay attention and acknowledge the stereotypes you've allowed to hold true in your life or in your circle. And that was it for my 6 points. And then I said at the end, I wanted people to know that this is a tough time, right? People don't know if they're saying the right thing, if they're doing the right thing. I have people who they should be acting like this, or their approach should be like that. I have to tell them everybody reacts in a different way. As long as you're making some kind of action, and I don't care if it's just in your heart. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is my thing. I'm trying to get to people's hearts, because racism is in your heart. It's rooted and it's grounded in your heart. When you have these stereotypes, those are in your heart. Those are things that you have to let go of. You have to say, you know what? I need to sit. I need to figure out why I'm like this. What I've heard, what I've seen, what is in me that I need to let go of, so I can treat everybody the same. So I can make sure justice is always justice equally for everyone, So I know that these are tough decisions, especially if I told one of a Caucasian woman reach out to me, and I said, honey, I understand that you're going to have these conversations with your granddaddy and your grandmother who really think that Black lives don't matter, because they grew up in a different time. So they don't even care. So I understand that. So I'm giving grace to those who
Oh boy, I think we're frozen there. I don't know if you can hear me, Anne-Marie, but you're frozen. I've had this issue. Sorry, guys.
They never had these conversations.
Sorry, you just froze there, but now you're back.
Okay, yeah. So, these are tough conversations that we have to have, and that's why I'm giving grace the way I am, because I know that even though I'm hurt and even I'm angry, this is a tough conversation to have with people, so.
But it starts with just ourselves initially. If we can look at it from that point of where is it coming from for us? Are we being racist in some way, even though we may not mean it, we may not come from a place of hatred or, this apparent injustice or inequality. We may not feel like we have any of that. We are loving, kind people, right? But there may be certain beliefs that are within us that can really determine how we would behave if some things were different. Now, I know that, again, your screen is frozen, so I'm just going to continue with my thought, because I think that, once we can do that, the education part of it is how we talk to our children. How do we train the people, the kids that are going to be running our countries and being part of a society? If we want equality, we've got to start behaving in such a way and also teaching it to our
Yes.
children, right?
Yes, I had someone ask me about that. What should I do going forward? Because at the end of the day, I want this to bring change, not just now, but so my kids don't have to fight this battle. Like, I don't want my dark-skinned babies to walk around here and be afraid to get stopped by the cops, or go into the store and it's a Caucasian woman or man following you because they think you're gonna steal. That gets old. It's tiring. So I don't want them to fight this battle. And I told a few Caucasian women who DM me, because I had a lot, over 200, no lie, DM me or Facebook me and ask me, what is a way to handle that? And I'm telling them, we have to stop telling our children that we don't see color. That is something that we have to stop doing. We were all created differently, white, black, Hispanic, Portuguese, Chinese. We're all made different colors and different ethnicities and cultures for a reason. God created us like that for a reason. Why are we telling our children that we don't see colors? I understand that people think that that's the best way to do, when they're raising them so they can treat them fairly. But what you say is, so-and-so, yes, they are a black boy and a black boy, or, so-and-so is a Chinese boy and there's a Chinese girl. We all should have the same heart. Treat them all the same. That way you raise kids that are aware that even though you may be a Caucasian man or woman who loves black people, who loves different colors, there are some Caucasian men and women who really do not care about our lives, who could care less, who are going to let the racism and the tension stay in their heart. And because you raise a Caucasian boy or girl to see color, but to see heart, they'll be aware.
Yes.
And they'll be able to speak up because they were raised to be aware.
Yeah. And I think that's the other important thing, right? It's to be aware, because I don't think the idea of saying, well, we just don't see color is almost living in denial. Like,
yes.
Like saying, well, let's deny that, because then we're just going to, our egos will be satisfied to say, well, we don't see color, so therefore we're not racist. But that in itself sounds like racism to me, right? Because we're saying that it's not even there, but it is. And it's a beautiful thing to be aware of it, like that we are different. We come from different heritages. We have different cultures. We have different cuisines, and we can actually draw from each other, from all of the different heritages, right? I think there's such a blessing and a diversity that can make us even better human beings by having it. So I think, God created that for a reason, right?
Yes.
It wasn't for creating inequalities in people.
No.
The creation is the creation, right? So I think, bringing this conversation in terms of teaching our kids that it's not just saying we don't see color, but to appreciate and celebrate each person, whatever culture, community they're from, and teaching them the awareness, because then we can start changing that systemic racism that we're seeing, right, from generations and generations. Right. So in terms of you in Florida, just, just an overview, how have you seen this play out in your area? Like, have you seen a lot of people coming forward and, being aggressive, or is it more reflective?
And well, I'm on social media a lot, right? So my audience is on Facebook. So I've really been talking to Facebook and my audience on Facebook, really trying to get them on board. If you have questions after this, there's something you can look at, something you can, ponder on, conversations you can have. Here, we had, protests, and we've had some things going on, but it's not bad like it is in bigger states. It's not. I'm grateful that it's not, but
Right.
um it's not really bad like it is here. Like I think here, it's smaller. People are kind of dealing with it in their
Right.
own way,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And in terms of just like your perspective on, there is a whole thing about looting and the violence part of it, right? What would you say to that? Like, there's obviously people that are angry out there that are lashing out, right?
yes, and my stance is always one of love and grace. I don't care how angry I am. And when I made my first post, I was angry. I cried for at least 3 days. I was very, very angry. But I made it my business to make sure people knew any post I made, any live that I did, any video that I did, it came from a place of love and grace, because I know that where people need to change is in their hearts, right? I do not condone looting in writing. I don't care how mad you are. I just don't. That's just how I am. Like, if you're going to do anything, do the peaceful protest. Yes. The looting and rioting, I don't condone it at all. But we have to understand, everybody does not handle anger the same way.
Right.
And these people are angry. These people have gone years and generations of inequality, of injustice, of just experiencing racism, experiencing just inequality, not just, with police brutality in our workplace, while we're at the store. This is our life. Like, this is life for us. They're angry, and this is the way that they are responding. And like I said, I don't condone it, because I just don't. Like, I feel like there's so many ways to get out your anger, and it's just not it. But that's why they are erupting. It's an eruption.
It's like a pressure cooker, right? It's been built up. So much pressure has been built up.
Yes.
And, now on top of a pandemic, right? So people are now, there's frustrations, there's all these things going on.
Yes.
But, for a pandemic, I mean, we've not, our generation is probably one of the only ones that's going to see a pandemic, right, in this era. So on top of that, we're adding this very huge thing that has been going on for generations. It really brings out pressures from different angles, right? And not that we're condoning, and I'm like you, lead from the heart, lead from grace. Yes, get your message out, have these types of conversations, open up to it, open up to the fact that we don't know, we don't have all the answers, we don't know, but we can at least start standing up for what we believe in terms of equality for all mankind.
Yes.
And in your workplace, in whatever community, if you see something that's wrong, speak up. This is the time. We need to stand up, speak up, and support each other. So I think, it's beautiful that you're able to, even on your own Facebook platform, your social media, you're coming out with a very, powerful message that this is about coming together, not about divisions, and about, creating more lines between us, right? It's all about coming together and supporting each other. And yes, it is a community that's hard hit. And I think this is it. It's, we're being called. We are being called for justice for all, right? Especially Black Lives Matter. So I really appreciate this. So I want to also highlight the work that you do, because you are an amazing human being. I've just been on your Facebook and following you for the last few days, but I just find that you're doing something that's very impactful, that you've probably pivoted your business a little bit from what I've heard in a few interviews you've done. Can you just walk us through sort of how you got to do what you're doing?
Of course. Well, I initially, when I started my business, I wanted to go into a clothing line. And then when I was like in the middle, like talking to manufacturers about producing my clothing line, I got very sick. very sick. I had Graves' disease, and I wasn't in a mental, emotional, and physical space to really do that. So after I had my surgery, my thyroid surgery, I felt a lot better. And I made a promise to myself that if I came to a place where my body felt good and my body felt because my body was really is weak and I was achy, a lot with the Graves' disease. I would do whatever I thought to do. So I had my surgery. A few months later, I felt amazing. I got a business coach, and I was talking to her, and I said, Ivy, I think I want to, do my clothing line. And we were, starting back doing the clothing line. And then something hit me one day, and I don't know what it was. Oh, I know what it was. I call her my boss babe because she was my manager at my last job before I quit my job to do my work that I do now full time. But she asked me to look for some pieces for her, and there were dresses. And I made her a promise that if I did not find the dresses that you were looking for, I take them back. Everybody who knows me knows I do not take clothes back. That's how sure I am about them. So I got the dresses. Needless to say, she loved them. And then she texted me one night. She was like, "You're hired." And I'm like, you know what? I should take this little seriously, right? So in July, I told my business coach, we're gonna take a detour. We're not gonna do the clothing line right now. We're gonna do wardrobe styling. So in 7 days, she made my plan, and before I knew it, I was up letting people know I was doing wardrobe styling. And from then, I went from wardrobe styling to closet organizing. COVID-19 kind of shut that down for me because people do not want you in their closets during a pandemic. So I got a style coach that I found on Instagram. Her name is Nikki. She's amazing. And I was, telling her what I wanted to do. And I was telling her, I was like, I'm so good at capsule wardrobes. I'm just good at it. I can do it with my eyes closed. I can create a capsule wardrobe and have these women looking good for the next 30 days. And they don't even have to think about what they're going to wear. She was like, well, that's
so tell me what capsule wardrobe is before you go on, because I want to just make sure that people are clear.
Of course. So a capsule wardrobe, this is my basic explanation of capsule wardrobe. A capsule wardrobe is a few pieces that all go together. So you have 7 tops, 7 bottoms, you have a few pair of shoes and accessories, and they all are interchangeable. So you can get many outfits out of those few pieces. So that's the capsule wardrobe. That is your wardrobe for the month, for 2 months, for 3 months, however long you want to, however creative you are, and however long you want it to last. So I can do it with my eyes closed. I do it at home all the time. I'm like, this goes together, this blazer goes with that or whatever. And she told me niche down, do capsule wardrobes. And that is what I'm doing. I'm a style coach and I'm a capsule wardrobe expert. And I help career professionals and entrepreneur women maintain their style every day of the week. So that is what I do.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Because when you look good, you feel good, right?
Yes.
It changes everything how you show up. So I know even in a pandemic, when we're working online like this, look at you, like lipstick's on. This is the end of my day, but I wake up, I shower, I do my hair, I do my makeup, because I think that's how you show up. If you show up for yourself, you show up for others.
Yes.
In that same energy, right? So I think that's such a beautiful thing because you're starting them off right so that they can continue their work with that kind of energy and vibrancy that everybody wants, right? You can feel the energy even on a screen.
Yes, it's true.
And so how would they be able to contact you? Like if that's something that they really want to explore for themselves, or maybe they have a friend or whatever, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, they can get a hold of me at www.devacouture.com. And also on my website, I have a free style discovery call. It's 30 minutes. And we can talk about their needs and whatever they need. I'm sure I'll be able to do it. I'm just good at what I do. And I say that with the happiness because I love it. I just love it.
Yeah, you found something that you're really good at. Like you said, you can do it with your eyes closed. So can you just tell me a little bit about how you're doing it online? Because it's not something you can go to someone's house, right?
Of course. So I have video call. So what we'll do is I have of course, a consultation call to see what your needs are, give you a questionnaire. And then I also, after you set your appointment, we hop on a video call. I literally go through your closet and I say, what are the solid colors that you want in this season? show me some prints that you want. I'll have the bottoms, whether they're skirts, pants, whatever you want. Get the shoes that you want out, and there's of course a set number depending on how many weeks you want, or how many outfits you want, and then the accessories, and then we put them all out on your bed, and I'll say, okay, that shirt goes with those pants, and then that top goes with those bottoms, and then that skirt goes with that shirt too, and then that shirt goes with this pants too, and if you put those accessories on that blazer, you have a totally different outfit. So we literally go through it all, so you see exactly how to put them together, and then after that, I give you your own style portal. And in the style portal, if you have any questions and you say, can you let me know how to style this outfit? You can send me a picture and upload it into the portal, and I'll send you a collage. So you see exactly how you can wear that piece in your closet. And then if you need pieces, say, I need some more blazers. I send you the blazers, and in your style portal, they already have the links attached. So you can go ahead and order it according to your budget.
So not all the clothes have to be in your closet. You could actually put new stuff. Like if you just don't, let's say you don't have a blue jacket like the one you're wearing, you could order one. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And is it only clothing or shoes and accessories as well? That could be
accessories and clothing. Whatever is going to get your look together from top to bottom, that's what we're going to do.
And the link is there, and it's all online shipping, I gather.
Oh yes, because what you literally do is you click on the picture that you want, and then you put in your shopping. You put in your card, and it ships right to your house.
That's brilliant. And who wouldn't want that? I think we're all coming to kind of figure out the time we're saving with online shopping. I know, of course, online shopping's been around, but with a pandemic, malls are closed. I think more people kind of got used to looking for things online. But if you're helping them actually style the outfit, it's the success rate is going to be way higher in getting it here and saying, oh my God, I love it, rather than saying, I got to send this back because it's not the right one or whatever.
Exactly.
And is that one-on-one do you do, or like do you do group coaching for stuff for?
Yes, that is one-on-one. I can discuss, of course, group coaching, but that's my one-on-one packages. So yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. Is there anything else that we should know about you and how you want to sort of end this conversation, just to tie things together?
Yeah, I do want to say this. I want to say that, during this time, people's emotions are high, right? We have to have a level of grace right now that we normally don't have, because a lot of people are trying to sift through what they have going on, right? And going on in their hearts. We are in a time where we have to talk to people's hearts, right? Because that is where the change starts, in their hearts. So I feel that during this time, especially if you're a Caucasian woman or a Caucasian man, don't beat yourself up if you don't get the verbiage right the first time and you say something and somebody bashes you or say, well, you should have known, or you should know what to do, or whatever. Give people grace, because people are upset, right? And then I tell my Black sisters and brothers, we have to give grace too, because until it hits your home, a lot of times you don't pay attention to it. It's just like having a homegirl and you say, we've been friends for 10 years now. We should know a lot about each other. When so-and-so does this, it really bothers me. And you're like, girl, I never knew that bothered you. Like, I should know that. We've been friends for 10 years, right? Same thing. Like, of course, we feel like, gosh, just treat us right. Like, we're human. But those are things that you have to go into your heart, and you have to dig way down and say, what am I going through? What do I have? What have I believed? What are the stereotypes that I've come across, that I've held on to, that I need to dispel, so that we can come in unity and we can make a change. We need a change. That's ultimately what it is. So have a level of love and grace during this time, because people really need it on both sides. They need it.
Thank you so much. It's so much wisdom. And I think the fact that you're speaking from your heart tells us, that this is where we should all start, is look within our hearts and speak from our hearts. I do have one more question that's come in before I sign off. It says, do you ship to Canada? So can somebody from Canada go onto your portal and have things shipped?
Yes. And when it comes down to shipping, it's literally online shopping. So whatever stores or whatever online stores I choose from is going to be somewhere that can ship to their country.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, because you never know, right? Because we're in Canada here, you're in Florida, and you might get some people that want to order things or at least check you out. So thank you again. I want to just I tell you, I'm so grateful that I've met you and that you agreed to this interview, because I really felt the conversation had to happen and I wanted to bring this forward. So thank you so much. I'm sure I will invite you again if you will accept. I will. Yeah, thank you so much. Enjoy your evening with your family, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, everybody, that was Maria. She is a brilliant light, and I believe that, you know, she shared some nuggets that perhaps we can all learn from and look at within ourselves of how we can change, how what we can teach our kids can be different, and so that they can grow up looking at equality as something that's just commonplace, as opposed to the racism that's found its place in common life. So thank you so much for joining me. I know this was a second life for me today, and I apologize for earlier when we didn't get to finish my interview with Christy, but we will have her back on. I will definitely let you know when that's happening. So have a wonderful evening. I will see you again tomorrow. Be kind to yourself and to others.